Right, so it's about time I did a Hasbro launch tech video. You guys have been asking so much for it over the last few months, and because UK nationals are actually in Hasbro Stadium, because we are in Europe and these are the official suppliers, so that is why we use Hasbro Stadium. I thought it's about time we did this launch tech video. So Hasbro Stadium is essentially the same, but it is a lot smaller. It's a lot less wide. With that comes the issue where these lips around the edges are a lot thinner than the TT Stadium would be. So in comparison, you can see these edges are massive. You've got a lot of space to work with. Whereas on your TT, those little bits there are a lot smaller, so it's harder to actually do launch tech on. Not impossible, but definitely a steeper learning curve. So we're going to go over the basics and then we're going to do some of the advanced launch techniques. Put it this way. So as stated on the TT version of this video, there are different launches you can do. First is flat. Now flat I rarely ever use myself. Flat is the most prone to self-extreming into the self pockets or the extreme, and you get the least amount of control. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate a flat launch. For the combination I'm using is 960 on a taper or a high taper. I'm not sure which one, but taper is definitely a good one to start learning with. One of the easier ones to do launch tech with. And there we have it on its first go on a flat launch, straight into that extreme. Because you're flat launching, you're on taper, you're on the flattest part of it, so the most amount of movement, you're most prone to your extreme. What really you need to be doing is putting it at a bit of a tilt. So what that'll do is when it's in the stadium, it will sort of wind up around the bottom and then it will start going around the rail. So you eliminate that first extreme dash to essentially wind up and then hit them, but it also stops you self KOing. So with this, you're going to have your launcher flat. You can either tilt forward or you can tilt backwards. You can either tilt side to side. They're all going to give you relatively the same outcome, where you're going to get a wind up period before you hit the extreme rail. So with this first one, I'm going to lay it straight and then I'm going to tilt it forward. You can see it sort of winding up before it goes, and then now it's going to pop off. And you can see it was getting closer to the extreme, but it wasn't actually popping over it because you've used that initial wind up to save yourself a little bit. Winding up. And then you get your extreme launches. Now, some people do like to flat launch things like Impact Drake and Shark Edge. You may want to just go gung-ho and smack them straight away and run that risk, but those type of bays are glass cannons, so if you are going to run that attacking aggressive ones, they're probably the best ones to do it with. Then we're going to move on to the advanced launch technique. So again, this is a lot harder in Hasbro. What you want to be doing is getting your Beyblade and you want it to sort of sit and stall up the top here, and then it'll drop down. So this is especially good when you've got an attacker who is going around the rails trying to hit you. If you can get your blade up out of the way and stalling up in this top corner, you're going to be safe, and then you could drop in and hit them with attacks. Right, drop launch. I've raised up the camera a bit so you can see a bit better. But essentially, it's the same as TT. You want to aim it and launch it into this top corner so that you can dive down and hit the stamina bit when it's in the middle. Definitely a lot harder to do in TT because this ridge here is so big and there's not a lot of space here, but it is definitely doable. You have to add a bit more emphasis on moving your hand. So where usually you would be able to just angle it and pull, I find a little bit of a push into the corner to help it on its way does help. So with this, you want it flat. You want to aim towards the corner that you want it to go, and then you want to aggressively tilt towards it. Not the prettiest one, but worked. See how at the end I'm sort of moving it in a bit to sort of push it into that corner. Definitely a lot harder, because if you hit onto that lip, it will fling. See how I've got like a little bit of hand movement as well, just to try and tuck it in there a bit more. So another one we can do is, if we're on the X side and we want to stall up the top, rather than doing a reverse X dash, because there are disadvantages with reverse. If you're sitting here and they manage to hit you, you're going straight in the pocket. You can launch it straight up into that top corner, so it's a reverse tungsten. So with this, you've got to think about the angle that you want it to be. So you sort of want it angled into that corner, so your launcher has to sort of reflect that. So you're going to sort of aim it towards the corner, but you're also going to pull it back a bit because you want that angle to come backwards. So you want to aim towards that corner, but also tilt a bit backwards. So I didn't stall for very long up there, but that is what you want. You want to aim it around here. That's pretty much what you want. You want it to stall up there and then come in and smack them. Now for reverse dash, I'm going to switch over the side of the stadium. With reverse dash, what we want to do is we want to go around the whole edge of the stadium, and again we want to stall up top here. So this is really effective if you are on the X side. So you see there is Beyblade X written. X, if it's on this side, means the X side. B on the Beyblade means the B side. So this is for X side. I'm going to launch it around here. Again, we're just aiming to avoid any attackers going for the extreme dashes. With this one, you want to point your launcher towards the rail. You want to tilt it so that you're not launching flat. You want it to stall up against the rail and ride around. So flat, tilt it in, make sure you're pointed around the rail, like towards the rail. It's not always pretty because that lip right there it's quite a tall lip on it. So as long as you've got your angles right, you tend to do all right with it. Right, that's the end of the video. I will be honest with you guys, launch tech in Hasbro is tough, definitely tough. If you haven't already, check out my TT launch techniques. So much easier, so much smoother. Hasbro is a pain, and I do not enjoy playing in Hasbro Stadium, but I am getting better. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the other launch tech video and all my other videos going. That's it from me. Beymac out.